Welcome to the Diecast, episode 10.
So we are going to begin episode 10 by talking about permadeath. We haven't talked about it yet on the podcast because, honestly, I haven't gotten that close to killing any of them. But we thought it would be...
You got pretty close when we were in the cave.
That's true, yeah. But that's the only time in,
that and when,
months of playing, so...
that
true.
Was in the cave.
Yeah, you
The
guys
witchy,
definitely...
the witchy lady that decided to turn leaky upon me, and then I ran like hell.
Yeah, you guys overextended yourself. So now that we have tasted mortal fear, let's talk about permadeath. How do you guys feel as players about whether or not I can forever and ever finally avenge myself?
I'd be okay with permadeath.
I'm all for it. Kill the characters.
I'm okay with permadeath. Because if Leaky is not strong enough to stand, then someone else must take his place.
What comes next down that food chain is frightening.
It should be.
So we've got 2 votes for yes, but I feel like that should be a unanimous thing.
I agree. What are your thoughts on it, Jen?
I really like Cesaria, but at the same token, but I'll go along with it because I can always roll a different character.
There's always another character to be rolled.
There's always another character. I think that permadeath too raises the stakes a little bit so that you have some reason to not just overextend yourself over and over and over again, because you know that at the end of the day, if you do it too many times, one of you is going to die forever. And we've had character death in the past, in a previous campaign, but it was before the podcast had started. That's actually where your 2 characters came from.
Yep.
So
Flint.
Flint perma-died, and we've discussed Flint at length at this point. We've put his soul to rest.
We have put his soul to rest.
And Elle died, but Elle's player didn't really care, so we didn't bother. She just drowned, and that was the end of that. She was ready for a new character. So I think, as a DM, I have no issue with character death as long as I'm allowed to, continue breathing after murdering one of your characters.
You may stop breathing for a little bit after Leaky dies.
We all did when you missed that jump you thought before you realized you had the advantageous roll.
That's true.
Let me pitch it to you, though, a different way. What about maiming your characters? Because that's a little darker than just outright killing. For example, what if we chopped off one of Leaky's hands? Or what if Cesaria had a tendon in her leg permanently torn that gave her a stealth debuff? Or what if Corey had such a severe concussion she forgot what it was like to be competitive? How do you feel about character maiming?
I think it'd be interesting.
I think it'd be interesting. I think it'd add an interesting aspect to the game. Because right now, since Leaky doesn't have the Dwarven Thrower, to do massive damage, he's got to wield 2-handed weapons.
Yeah.
Well, that, and once you get your Dwarven Thrower back, there goes your OP.
Well, it's a one-handed weapon.
It's a one-handed weapon.
But you would have disadvantage on any kind of athletics check that required you to use two hands. So it would be a permanent debuff. Or, if you lost an eye, Cesaria, you wouldn't have depth perception. It would be harder for you to shoot a bow.
Oh, I'd be Alroy.
Or... That's true.
Which is our one-eyed dog.
I'd be okay with maiming.
I'm fine with that.
Yeah.
Okay, so permadeath we're okay with.
Maiming minus nerve damage.
Okay. Is maiming something that you would need to choose?
I think it should be presented, this is just me personally, but say there was that type of option, say Leaky decides to go take on 4 hobgoblins and gets his butt royally kicked. And then he says, it'd be you have a, say roll whatever die, depending on how badly he gets his butt kicked. And that's how many options between you can either take this maim, or this maim, and you have to pick one of them. That way the character still gets an option as to how they want to continue developing, but it's also you have to pick one because you screwed up.
Yeah.
And it's still... And I like that idea because it still goes along the same lines of D&D with the randomized dice roll. You never know what you're going to get.
Okay.
And
we do have tables for something like that in the players, or in the DMG, where it talks about overexertion, I think, or exhaustion points, and also madness, which we haven't really trucked with supernatural stuff too much so far. It's been a lot of fighting.
I think Cesaria is mad. She's getting less mad now that Drowned has turned into Tide, but... Yeah. She was getting there a little bit.
Well,
Considering I still have Donnie's tongue in my pocket.
What you've done is going to come back twofold, right? That's the law of karma. So.
Oh, she's got karma coming for her. And karma's a... Yeah. Hey, you're welcome.
Yeah.
You don't have to beep it.
Anything else, Linz? What do you think? Maiming?
I think maiming's good. I actually would almost leave it more up to random and not be able to have the choice on it, though. And
Just roll on a
just
table.
a flat roll instead of having any kind of choice towards it.
I'd say we could always set
if I were to
up
fall off a
table.
building, I wouldn't have a choice at what would happen to me.
That's true. That's true.
I mean, we could always set up, like, a
That's a lot of tables to build, though.
I guess at a certain point, though, you could make an argument towards the DM saying, like, he says, like, oh, you broke your arm, but wouldn't it make more sense if I... But you'd have to make a good case for yourself.
But we do have our warp tokens.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's what
'Cause I was also
warp
thinking-
tips are for.
like, just a generalized table of physical injury, and then you roll on that as... I mean, it only has to be, like, a D4.
Mm-hmm.
And then, you know, you lose it, it's broken, but fixable, broken amputation, or, you know, needs medical attention, because then you have to limp with it, or whatever.
Okay.
And
so
then,
since we're
like-
playing within the purview of the warp tokens, then would it be fair game for you to go, well, actually, I just barely escaped that, and then just hand it right back to you and go, yeah, you escape it with permanent scarring.
Yeah.
Would that be fair?
Yeah. I'd be okay with that.
I guess the deeper that you warp something, the worse it's going to get, right?
So, does that wrap up our pre-episode discussion for this episode?
Yep. Permanent death, cool. Maiming within the constraints of reason, and warp tokens are fair game for both of those.
All right. Roll for initiative.
So in the last episode, episode 9, Ready Player 3, you met the paladin Anthar Froom. And you, and specifically Leaky and Cesaria, had a meeting with Anthar Froom, at which you met Corey, Gotha Kanaki, the Worm Crusher.
Gotha Kanathi.
Gotha Kanathi. Am I close enough?
No.
She's a paladin of Tyr who has sworn the oath of vengeance, and she's been brought in by the Lord's Alliance and the paladin councils of Elturel to help you, Leaky and Cesaria, stop the dragon cult. In order to beat them to Baldur's Gate, you took a boat up the river Kyanthar, and on the boat, you were attacked by pirates. A great number of them. And it didn't go well for anybody.
Including Pirate Pato.
Pirate Pato. It did not go well for anybody, and so you barely made it into port at Baldur's Gate with the captain almost on his deathbed from the injuries that he sustained because you chose to fight rather than help him at first, which is how it usually goes. At Baldur's Gate, Corey wasted no time in introducing you to Anthar's contact there, a man named Akron Celeborn. Akron's goal is to help you locate the dragon cult and its stolen freight as it moves through the city, and to hopefully get you on your way north or west to figure out exactly what they're doing and how to stop them. So we begin in Akron's shop. He's a wagon outfitter, and his shop is called Celeborn's Steerage. All of the gear and supplies that a teamster or a wagoner might need to survive on the road are sold here. They're stacked neatly on low tables, they're hung from the walls, and they're leveled on shelves. Akron Celeborn himself is a meticulous man whose eyes miss nothing, and as you enter the shop by the cool morning light, Akron comes around the low table where he's been sat polishing and said, all right, you've had your rest at the inn. Worm Crusher, is your team finally ready to get started?
We are ready to set forth.
Okay. He is ready to debrief you. Do you have any questions about Baldur's Gate or about what's going on? How do you want to proceed with setting up your mission here?
I need to go see a weaponsmith.
Okay, he recommends Ox Blades, which is here in Blackgate in this district.
Okay.
So at any point you can go over to Ox Blades. It's pretty easy to find, or you can just ask for directions.
I would like to ask him a little bit more background about the town and about any strange occurrences that might be going on.
He says Baldur's Gate has 3 wards. The upper ward, where the nobles live, the lower ward, which is Blackgate and the surrounding neighborhoods, and the outer city. And that's the poor part of the town. And if you look, we don't have roads through Baldur's Gate. All the buildings are built very close together so that we can stack within the walls. And that means that the wagons that you would have been chasing north had you come on the road have to be set off and their cargo carried by porters across the town on foot. So I lost track of where they're coming from, and we need to find out where they are. But Baldur's Gate is huge. It could be anywhere within the city. And as far as this local area, which is, they should be coming through here, we have lots of people going missing. So this entire area is very churned up right now. But he doesn't know what's going on with those people. And he's lost track of where the crates are going. So they know that some of them must be getting unloaded in the south gate in the port and also on that southern road that comes across. But he doesn't know where the heck the crates are going. But all the crates have to go north to the actual north gate where they would leave onto the tradeway. But there's so much freight being carried across the city that one turn you could lose those people.
So are the crates and the people going missing, or just the people?
There's people going missing in Blackgate and the surrounding neighborhoods, but also...
Blackgate or Baldur's Gate?
Blackgate's the name of one neighborhood within Baldur's Gate.
Oh, okay. I was very confused.
No, that's okay.
I got lost.
So we're in Blackgate. Blackgate is a little bit north of the port, which is where you came in on.
So we're in suburb.
You're in like a neighborhood or a block,
okay.
Like Hell's Kitchen within New York City.
Yeah, a district, essentially.
Yeah, a district. That's a better word for it. So, and then Baldur's Gate is the whole town. So there are several walled-off sections of the town. The upper ward is where the nobles live, and that's the wealthier district. You're in the lower district, which is newer and more middle class. And then there's the outer district, which is poor and doesn't have any of the same building codes. Baldur's Gate in general is very cramped. It's been very built up over the last several centuries. So there are no wagons. There's no, drawn carts, nothing like that. It's all foot traffic. Which means there's lots of employment to be found as a porter or a farrier to actually manually carry the stuff from one gate to another. But a lot of crates that would come in actually get sold here because they already have to get unpacked. So the plan for most of the wagoners would be to pull the stuff right off the carts and then sell it to people within the town. The stuff that does make it to the next gate to be moved on and reloaded onto another wagon, he's losing track of everything, so he can't track it. The city's just too big for that. So he has an idea that maybe it's here in the area. You could spend a while scouting. And actually, if we stop and metagame, the book actually wants you to sit in a cafe and watch. But I thought, that's bull. Let's do something more interesting. So I would prefer you to go out and scout for a little while and actually look, and not just wait to be recognized, basically. Because that's what the book wanted. So I rewrote this section. So if you're familiar with Hoard of the Dragon Queen, listener, at this point, everything here is going to be new because it's all homebrew. So,
I enjoy your homebrew stuff.
Mm-hmm.
This one's okay. It's been a good long while thinking about it. So he also recommends that if you need new armor, because you can see that from the trip your armor's dented up and banged up, you could try to go to Daggledrag's Coats and Guards. Oxblade sells weapons, and there's also a tailor and some other people around that could provide you with clothing if you need that kind of thing.
We are going farther north, correct?
Yes.
It's going to get cold.
Yeah.
Which means you may want to actually, not go regimental.
Yeah. I need some warmer clothing.
Okay. He can make a recommendation that you maybe check out. We're going to call her Lady Ellerin. Lady Ellerin's cloth. She can sell you all sorts of clothes. She's the tailor that he recommends to people who are going north.
Does she carry furs?
She does carry furs. She carries leathers, all sorts of stuff. She's a fine merchant who is equipped to equip people like you.
Okay.
Who live on the road.
I also have some gems to sell. Where would be the best place to sell those?
Probably over on Niebolt Street, where there are some merchants who deal in that kind of thing.
Okay.
Oh, yeah, I have those too.
You're welcome.
Also, question, is there a Paladin's Guild in this town?
There are several temples in the area.
Okay. I would like to go to the Temple of Tyr for a short while and pay my respects.
Okay. I can do that while I scout?
Yes. I will scout there.
Is there someone who can tell us more about this small glass orb that we found when we killed the lizard?
The blizzard?
Lizard.
Oh, okay. I was going to say, wow, we killed weather. I don't remember that.
Lizard.
The basilisk?
Yeah. I can't say that word. Don't judge me. It's a lizard. But as the lizard died, died, the light that was glowing in it went out.
He looks at it but has no idea what that is. Doesn't believe you also because it just looks like a glass ball.
Okay.
Are there any shops that deal in magic items?
He says that kind of thing is not looked upon well by the locals. So
don't ask.
He doesn't think that would be a good thing to go asking around openly about.
Okay.
That was more so just of a...
Alright.
Okay, are we going to Ox Blades or are you going to go scout for clues?
I'm going to Ox Blade.
I'm going to follow you because I have stuff I need to...
And you're going to the temple?
I'm going to scout about at the temple.
Okay. So, Ock is a lumbering half-orc who's missing one arm. His sleeve is pinned up at the shoulder. As you walk in, he looks up from where he's kind of standing behind his counter. It's a quiet shop. He goes, "Hello."
Hello. We have some... I don't know about this one, but I have some items I'd like to sell, and I need to purchase some weapons.
He says, "Put it up here on the counter." Gestures with his one arm.
I put the banjo bow and the jeweled longsword on the counter.
Okay. The jeweled longsword he appraises at... Do you have a listing there?
I'm working on it right now.
Okay.
The longsword is normally 15 gold pieces.
It's jeweled?
Yes.
Do you remember what it's jeweled with?
No, I do not.
Okay.
It was the longswords that the berserkers were carrying in the cave.
Right, okay. So he picks up the jeweled longsword first and gives it an experimental swish, and then he picks a little bit at the jewels in the hilt, and he says, "I'll give you 50 gold pieces for this."
Can you do 75?
No.
Alright, I'll take 50 then. What about the banjo bow?
He leans over this thing and stares at it for quite a while, and he plucks at it, tries to figure out exactly what this thing is. And he says, "Some idiot will buy this. I'll give you 15 gold pieces for this one."
Alright, I'll take it.
Okay. He hangs the banjo bow up above the doorway, right immediately behind him so that it's on full display. Then he just stares at it and shakes his head.
Are you going to keep your boot bolo?
Yes, I'm keeping the boot bolo.
And he looks at you, Cesare, and he goes, "Oh, what about you? You look like you've seen the road too. You have anything that you'd want to sell or buy?" And he gestures at his wall full of daggers and knives and looks pointedly at the big barrels of crossbow quarrels.
And actually, I'm going to come in for my scouting to also come to the weapon shop.
Okay, so you're meeting them up here?
Yes.
He looks up and he goes, "Wow, heavy business today."
I say, "Good sir, I wish to trade this warhammer for a greatsword instead."
And he says, "Set it up here on the table," and gestures with his one arm.
I set it up there. I tell him, "This is from a land far, far away. The place of my home. A better land than this one. Where the people are better, the food is better, and generally the smell is better."
He says, "That's crap. That's our ox steel." He knows where that's from.
I tell him, "Can I trade it for a greatsword?"
Yeah, you can do that. He pulls one off the wall and says, "Try this one. How's the balance on this?"
I say, "It'll do, I suppose."
Okay.
Oh, I was going to switch the longsword for a rapier, but the longsword I have is better.
And I'm going to head back out scouting.
Although, the rapier can be...
The rapier is not versatile.
No, it's not versatile.
It's
one and
finesse.
two-handed. It's finesse, which would let her use dexterity instead of strength.
That's why I was looking to switch it, because my strength sucks.
Yeah, but your rapier, you can use your dexterity instead. Versatile means you can use it with two hands.
Yeah, because
Which is what
my
the
strength...
longsword
So your rapier is better for your character.
Yeah.
Which you went on a rampage about the fact that you had a rapier in the beginning and gave it to me and then told me to sell it.
Are you buying hand axes, by the way?
I am buying hand axes. I was waiting for Cesaria to finish.
I would like to sell this longsword that I picked up from someone, unless she won't it.
I think it was the other jeweled longsword.
Was it the other jeweled longsword?
I know. He wants a ranged weapon.
Oh.
Don't worry, I know what I'm doing.
Okay.
Go backseat drive.
Okay.
Lindsey trying to backseat DM over there?
Yeah. I think she thought that we were just going to find the dwarven thrower hanging on a wall here.
I wish.
I don't know.
If only it were that easy.
Yeah, no kidding.
I'm sorry, Leaky. I have another jeweled longsword that I would like to...
The jewels in this one are a little nicer. He's willing to offer you 60 gold pieces for this one.
Okay.
What?
He slams his hand down. He's like, do you see this arm? Dwarfs took this arm, and they carried it away. No 60 gold for you. And he starts freaking out and raging at you.
And
Are you being racist? Don't you slam 2 hands on the table just because you can do it. That's ableist.
Leaky! I'm talking! Shush! Please.
Leaky glares at Cesaria.
Cesaria?
He's so mad.
Corey
His tongue is just
grabs
flapping
Corey
wide.
grabs Leaky by the back of the collar and drags him out of the store.
I thought you were scouting.
I
No,
was
she came
going
back
to.
to
I came
us.
back when I heard the shouting, apparently.
No! I haven't bought my axes yet!
Go calm down and then
The
come
little
back
bell
in.
dings as she drags you out from underneath the door.
Ding ding ding.
I say to Cesaria as I leave, grab him an axe, please.
2!
2.
Okay. Do you have any rapiers?
Yes, he does.
I'd
Takes
like
it like a big... Yes, I have lots of rapiers.
I'd like one, please.
Okay, he's willing to sell you one.
Okay.
It is well sharpened already.
Good. If it's dull, I'd be sad.
He offers to silver it for you as well, if you want.
What does the silvering do?
It would make it count as a magical weapon for all intents and purposes. So if you ever encounter a creature that is immune to physical attacks, like a shadow, for example, it can automatically cut through it. So the silvering can be worn away, can be cracked off, or just shattered. Yeah.
My hands hurt.
But we can always come back and have it resilvered.
Assuming you're not 750 miles away, yeah.
Well, there's probably other places that would do it as well.
There are. Yeah, he would silver it for 15 gold pieces.
Okay.
So it doesn't take long. You just have to come back and pick it up tonight, probably.
Okay. And I also need 2 hand axes for the short angry thing.
He slams those down on the table really passive-aggressively.
You get used to him after a while.
He doesn't have to. He just owns the shop in Baldur's Gate. He doesn't have to deal with him ever again, probably.
It's a good thing we got Leaky out of there, because since we have maiming now, we don't know what that orc would do. An arm for an arm, as they say.
That was all you needed, was the 2 hand axes?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay. Does that conclude your business at Ox Blades?
Yes.
Doesn't conclude my business, but I'm not going to be able to get back in there.
I'm using a warp token right now. One of the axes is deliberately dulled. You can't add your strength to its damage.
So fix it.
So
I'm giving the warp token back.
in case that wasn't clear, first I, as a DM, gave him a warp token, and I made that one of the axes deliberately dulled, like it was a shelf model, so that he can't add his strength modifier to it.
The other one was from the orc's personal stock. He didn't realize it, and it's extra sharp.
Well, crap.
And does a d8 of damage instead of d6.
No, we're not changing the full dice. I'll give you an extra point on it.
Okay.
We can't change the whole dice, otherwise it's like twice the size.
And hand axes is in strength anyway.
Because you can throw it, right?
Yes. It's
It
dexterity.
doesn't matter for you. You got 5 on both. You broken man.
Oh, maybe it is.
No, I think if you throw it, it's dexterity.
Yeah, if I throw it, it's dexterity, so doesn't matter anyway.
Okay, where else are we going? We've been to Oxblades. Does anybody need to go to the armorer?
We talked about you guys needing clothes for the cold.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah.
Since
Lady
I am-
Elenon's.
Since I am a Goliath from the mountains, we do not feel the cold. We are built of tougher stuff where I am from. Apparently, no retort to that.
No. They'd have to stand up like Leaky on her shoulders in order to even retort. So.
Okay. Now.
How tall are you?
Like 7 foot.
So you're taller than I am.
What am I?
Said 1 extra damage to that.
1 extra, yeah.
Those warp tokens work well.
Yeah, they do.
7 foot 10.
7'10". Crap! I thought I programmed an NPC that was going to be taller than you.
It wasn't.
Darn. I'm not changing it now. Okay, where else? So, do you guys want to go to Lady Ellen's now, or do you want to wait?
Yes.
Do you want to start scouting, or what's yes?
Let's go to Lady Eldon's.
Okay,
Let's get all the shopping done, and then we can scout.
Lady Eleanor is a very thin moon elf woman in a very nicely arrayed clothing shop. She doesn't scream at you when you come in the door. She just greets you with a bow.
Leaky bows back, knowing some of the dwarven culture.
She's an elf, though.
Elven culture.
There you go. To be fair, like Leaky doesn't see color. He doesn't see race. We're all just people. Can we just get along and love each other as deeply as possible?
Well, I feel like Leaky also, if he knows nothing else, Leaky knows about tradition and honor. So
That's true.
Yes, he does.
I
That's
feel
a
like
good
this
point.
is. I feel like those kinds of responses should come second nature to him. It has nothing to do with civility.
True. Okay, so what you guys want to buy? Like heavier winter clothing, or at least autumn clothing, because it is late summer.
Do you have bear fur?
She does. She says that what would you want her to sew you using a bear hide?
Do you have one with the head still attached?
Oh dear God.
That could be procured from the markets without too much issue, she imagines.
Can I have a cloak with the bear head as the hood?
She thinks about it and she goes, "Yeah, that shouldn't be too much of an issue.
How much would that cost me?
That would cost you." She looks at the price of bear cloaks in her big book of like material expenses and thinks about the amount of labor, and she says about 70 gold. But the teeth would still be attached.
I'm okay with that.
Okay, it's a feature.
I like that feature.
Okay.
Simply because you are going to keep the teeth attached, I'm not going to barter with you.
Okay.
I will pay the 70 gold.
Okay. And she dispatches one of the women that she has working for her to go to the markets immediately to buy it. She tells her to hustle.
How long will it take?
It'll take about a day. They've got enough girls working on it. They can do it.
Okay.
Also, they have several male dwarfs down there who are master craftsmen of the clothing. They are the best dressed dwarfs you've ever seen. Honestly, they make you a little jealous. Like, they have style in a way you just don't understand. One of them offers to mend your kilt.
I don't have anything on underneath it.
You also need to buy undies.
The bear cloak will be enough.
All right.
Can we make the...
You should.
Well,
Yes.
no, I don't need to make it extra large.
Make
The kilt?
No, the bear
kilt.
cloak.
Oh.
Have them
It's
upgrade
already wool.
Is it?
Yes.
Oh. Well, I knew then.
I think that I would also like to try to purchase something at this clothing.
Okay.
So I'm gonna go in and I say, I wish to have a hat like the one I had back in my home country.
They ask you to describe the hat since they don't know the home country.
I say to the person that it is a wide-brimmed hat that is a little floppy and has a flower on it.
One of the male dwarfs with the exquisite style goes, "Hold on!" And he disappears into the back. The other one looks at you and goes, "Are you sure you don't want us to mend the kilt? It's in terrible repair."
It would be
How much to
warmer,
mend?
Leaky.
5 gold pieces to repair it.
You better be doing an impeccable job.
What do you think they do? They're dressed impeccably. The other one bursts back out with a floppy hat and a flower and goes, "Is this the one?"
I said, yes, that is truly a warrior's hat. Where I come from, only the mightiest of warriors may have this.
He rolls incredibly well, leaps up to your head, and lays it right on your head.
I am
As we
pleased.
know, dwarves can fly sometimes.
I am very pleased by this, and I strike a vicious-looking pose.
It's going to cost you 50 silver pieces, but it's
All right.
worth every copper component. Meanwhile, the other one brings you out a pair of slacks and like holds them up to you and kind of looks at you and looks down at the slacks, looks back up at you and goes, "I think these will fit. Put these on and take the kilt off."
Okay.
And they make your glutes look beautiful.
I look at Leaky and go, Flint would be proud. Flint would stare at that.
Everybody else is. They take the kilt in the back and they're going to go do some work on it. So you're temporarily not kilted. You have a pair of pants on right now, Bruce Banner. So be careful.
I feel so constricted.
So, Cesare, do you need any like autumn gear, winter gear? Because we know it's going to take 2 months on the road. Akron was pretty clear about that. To get to at least the caravans going to Waterdeep is going to take about 2 months. So by
Yeah.
then it'll be well into autumn.
Do you have any, like, fur-lined leather armor?
They do. Do you want to replace your fur-lined leather armor? Or not your fur-lined, do you want to replace your leather armor with something more reinforced and wooled?
Yes.
Okay, so they have a whole number of like studded leather and that kind of thing. If you want to buy one of those sets from the armor page, and we'll say it's lined with fur for an extra gold piece. Do you want wolf fur? Do you want bear fur for 5 gold pieces? Do you want boar hair?
Ugh, scratchy.
Meanwhile, while Cesaria peruses their fur-lined leather armors, some dude walking by outside looks inside Lady Elenin's, and she sees Leaky in his pair of pants, and she goes, and keeps walking.
You know it!
Oh, sweet mother of God.
And like halfway down the street, you just hear like, "Welcome to Baldur's Gate, bud."
Yes.
You have an entrance into a new community. You are accepted here.
Leaky goes out and struts his stuff around the square a little bit.
You hear some people clapping.
Leaky at all disappointed
Everybody,
about
males
the...
and females, everybody. They just have never quite seen that physique.
Is Leaky at all disappointed by the fact that they are only happy to see him when he's not in his kilt?
I don't think it's that. I think it's just the way it's framed.
He's got a J-Lo booty of muscle.
Leaky's enjoying the attention.
You gonna roll a performance check?
Oh, God! A 3.
It's a great performance, but not for the reasons Leaky thinks inside his head. Some children begin crying.
Oy.
How does Leaky respond to them crying?
Leaky's unaffected.
All right.
Leaky's used to children crying. He's been hanging out with Cesaria too long.
Side note. Since I can technically do heavy armor as well.
The disadvantage
no.
is stealth.
Yeah, so...
You're probably gonna go with a breastplate. Because that's gonna... 14 plus your dex modifier. What's your dex modifier? That'd make your AC 19. You'd be almost as impenetrable as me.
I completely forgot that I could do medium. So should
That's why we're getting equipped and also using all that loot, right?
Side conversation, because this is the one part that still confuses me, is the different types. Is that, like, another type of mail?
No.
What's that?
Breastplate.
No, breastplate is...
Breastplate's a solid core, yes.
Yep.
So I could get, like... I wasn't sure if I needed to get, like, the studded leather and the breastplate.
Nope, it's just those 2 different types of armor.
Yep.
So it doesn't layer.
No, but I wasn't sure if it was, like, you need that to go with...
No, this
like,
is not truly medieval times where you have to have leather underneath the plate armor.
Yeah,
Okay.
with the plate armor, it's presumed that you have a leather hauberk or something underneath.
Yep.
Okay. That's where I was...
Naked plate would be cold.
Yes, it would.
Well, that's where I was getting very confused.
And it would chafe. A lot.
I still have to add stuff to
If
that.
by chafe you mean metal cuts, then yes.
Well, also, the movement in the shoulders, just chafe the shoulders and other body parts.
Because I was also thinking along the lines of making me a little less squishy.
Well, a breastplate would accomplish that.
Very much so.
There's no disadvantage on stealth for it?
No.
Okay. I'm cool with that.
Do you have any fur-lined breastplates?
They can give you a fur lining, yeah. They can give you like a leather jacket to
Ow.
go under it. So like the price of that plus 5 gold maybe for the
Okay.
leather jacket and the fur lining. to
It's
go underneath
expensive, but it's worth it.
405 gold.
Yeah.
But you have the money.
Yeah.
If you get that, you'll be almost as tanky as me. Just not with the health.
Okay, so you want to trade out the money?
Yes. Hang on. I have to add 60 from that and then subtract. Math.
Yeah, because if I do any kind of armor, I have to...
It modifies your AC.
It modifies my AC to a point where I don't want it. I mean, I could go half plate, and that would make my armor class 20, but what's the point? Oh my god, you're not squishy.
Well, I'm still squishy if they can hit me.
You're less squishy.
Fair point.
Do you have armor, Lindsay?
I do. I have chainmail.
If you want to upgrade to plate, this is when you do it.
Can I actually upgrade to plate? I don't know how much gold I got from that last fight, but I don't have a whole lot of money as my other
You
issue.
do have a personal bank over there.
And I think we can both.
Would you? Holy crap!
spare.
I've got more money than the rogue.
I also have been spending.
Because I only have 5 gold, so I don't really have a whole lot to shop with. That's why
I think you can spare. And since Leaky approves of you, I guess I can spare some, since you helped us a lot.
If nothing else, it could be self-preservation at this point. All right, so how much is it for plate mail?
And considering I'm a
full plate mail,
Yeah.
15,000 or 1,500.
Oh,
we
won't
don't
be doing
have that.
No, we won't be doing that.
You can do. Here, I'll just give you the book that's already open to
got
the
it.
page.
I don't know how to.
So you're at chain mail right here, right?
Yeah.
So you have disadvantages on stealth. Do you have a chain shirt or chain mail?
I have chain mail.
So you could do splint mail that would raise your armor class to 17.
But you'd still get disadvantage on stealth.
Yeah.
That's not such a big deal.
So splint mail is I think like Roman armor, and then plate is
That's
heavy.
That's the thing
raise
to
it
save up
18.
to.
Yeah. In order to have it, you need to have a strength of 15, which you already have.
Yeah.
What's your dex modifier?
My dex is 9. Oh, -1.
Well, she doesn't need a stealth though. She can just stay still and pass automatically.
Okay.
The only person who's stealthing is the person sneaking around. If you're laying a trap, she would be like a bulwark.
I don't think a Goliath is much of the type of person you expect to be stealthing
no.
about anyways.
What kind of armor do you want to go with?
So it looks like the splint would probably be the best way to go. It's 200 gold.
Okay.
If that's okay with you guys.
Bless you.
Excuse me.
Leaky is going to be nice. And of course, the self-preservation of Leaky and pay for Worm Crusher
Yes.
What's
to get a set of armor.
Why, thank you. I really appreciate it.
that also works out because Tyr,
Tier.
hail Tyr, fellow brethren. Between you two,
Yes.
that's where I was going with that.
So that brings my armor class up by a point, which is fantastic. Thank you very much.
So I'm buying my fellow child of Tyr armor.
Okay. That sounds good. So splint mail is it's armor made of narrow vertical strips of metal riveted to a backing of leather that's worn over cloth padding with flexible chainmail protecting the joints. So that reminds me of the Witcher's armor.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So that's cool. All right. So we are equipped. We've got our slightly heavier armor now for the fall, and
Well, the other
My
day.
AC's higher.
got slightly better weapons, and that leaves.
Well, we gotta pick up stuff.
Well, you guys bought armor from
In the
Lady
moan
Elena,
and-
not Dragoldab, but
Yeah.
that's okay.
What?
They're like rivals.
Yeah, that's true. So they're gonna sew you up they're gonna get your armor for you.
Awesome.
So in the meantime, what you have left to do is to scout basically for
And
clues of
go
where the
sell
heck these
gems.
quarters are. Right. So you want
Yep.
to go over to Nebold Street.
Yep. Are we just selling them for what they're worth, or are we doing a barter?
It's a barter thing. So
Okay.
it takes a while to sell gemstones because not everybody has enough cash on hand for what they're worth. So if you want the full value of it right now, you need to give it to them and wait, basically. Wait a couple of days for to find a purveyor, or you could sell it at a slight discount of 75%. And they will eventually find a seller, so they're willing to do that up front. It's actually relatively generous because we do have the upper district of Baldur's Gate with all of the wealthy nobles nearby. But if you don't want to wait for a couple days for them to find a good seller, they'll give it to you for a discount.
I'll wait for a seller.
Okay.
I have a very long list of gemstones.
Okay. If it's anything lower than 10 gold pieces, they'll buy it on hand because they know that they can turn around those things to sell them to armorers and weapon makers and also just the nobles that want pretty stones. If it's anything above 20 gold pieces, it's going to be sold at a discount. Or you
Like right this moment, rather than waiting.
They'll give you 75%.
Okay.
Okay.
Unless
do
you want to roll persuasion checks for maybe a higher rate.
Do you buy pearls?
They can buy pearls, yeah. They know they can sell those.
Will you buy pearls at full price?
Yes.
Okay.
Yep, they are. It's a gnome and his children that work in this shop. So mid-sentence, he's like, "Stop! Put that down!" But they are trying to sell to nobles, and they buy from adventurers like you. So they're used to haggling,
Okay.
and they know that there is a point at which it's pointless. So they will buy pearls. They don't mind buying rubies and emeralds and sapphires. Basic small stones they can usually say, "Stop it! Put it down!" I said, and they want to They want to move stuff as fast as they can.
Fair enough. All right. I have 3 gemstones worth 100, or so I think.
They can offer you 75 gold pieces for those.
Or I can wait and get the full price.
Are you going to be here that long? Adventurers like you tend to move on the road pretty quickly. Go in the back. Put it down.
That's true. Can we do 90% of the value?
You can roll a persuasion check to try.
Oh, shit.
What's your persuasion?
Do you see the dwarf? If you don't behave, I'm going to send you with him.
I don't want him.
Don't tell him that. I want him to behave. He needs to learn.
The elf might take him.
No,
but I'm not.
never with an elf. You should know better than that.
I'm with the elf.
That's the problem. That's why I'm going to send him with you.
This is
You've
my...
never seen a gnome quite as red
Be
in the
nice
face
to
as
my
this
little one.
You're not sure if he's drunk or if he's just chronically
also have a higher
enraged.
persuasion if you need me to step in. I also have an even higher intimidation.
You know what? Do you see the Goliath?
He can't quite turn his neck up that high.
Why don't you threaten to send them with him?
Do you hear that?
I
Send him
thought
with him.
Wormcrusher was a girl. Did we ever establish your gender?
I am a female, but it's a common misconception.
It's the height and the bulkiness.
in my homeland, we do not differentiate based on gender. Therefore,
My apologies, Wormcrusher.
These pronouns are meaningless to me.
My apologies, Wormcrusher. So I'm going to roll a persuasion check to try and get
Okay.
a better deal. Natural 20
They'll give it to you for 90.
for 90.
But, and he says it on the side, he's like, will you please growl at the kids to get them to learn?
Can I do it?
Ah!
I was gonna purr.
All of the gnome children run into the back.
I was gonna purr at them.
They scatter and flee. You can just a little pitter-patter of gnome feet.
Run away, children.
Deal?
Okay, 90% of the value.
Okay.
Let's give it up front. So what, you said they're worth 100 each?
Yeah.
So 90 gold pieces. So
Do you want me
can
to
turn
keep track?
270?
I've got a bunch of...
Not
Are
like
you just gonna do
the rest of-
90% of all?
What about... I have a ruby as well. Is it just 90% of all? Did I roll 90% of all, just those 3?
Yeah.
Okay.
those 3.
All right, so I'm going to do math. Do you have gemstones to sell?
Yes.
Okay.
All right.
So are you? He looks at Cesaria a little suspiciously, and he says, "Are you? Do you want cash now, or are you waiting? Do you want me to?" Search
It's a
for
fair
time?"
point that, given we are adventurers and do have a mission to attend to, that we may not be around long enough. So, if you have the cash, if not, I can always make a deal with you, or I can come back.
Okay.
Possibly.
What are you selling?
I have a ruby worth 100 gold pieces that I'm not horribly bound to, but I do have a ring that's worth 900 gold pieces.
He wants to see the ring. He says, "What's special about this ring?"
It was from when we were down in the shrine of the 5-headed dragon. It came from a loot that was there for the shrine of Tiamat.
Let me see if there's anything specific about it.
I don't think you said there was.
I may not have told you if you didn't attend
Maybe.
yourself to it.
It was right after Drownbrook. Nice.
I just doubled my gold. By screaming at small children.
Which is kind of like your second job anyways.
Yeah,
pretty
kinda
much.
is.
You know where we... It was the shrine. It's right after Drownbrook. And the possibility of Tiamat coming out of a
It's
volcano.
a gold and sapphire ring. So he says he'll give you 700 gold for it up front, or if you want to leave it with him, he'll give you a contract and you'll find a buyer for it. But that may take a few days for something quite as well cut as this.
Do you think we'll be scouting for a few days, Leaky, to gather all of our information?
I don't know if we'll be here that long.
You could try,
I can scream at the children again.
try doing a
the children
persuasion
have all
check.
run? You
We
just
could try doing a
yelling into the
persuasion
hallway
check,
now.
or we could try doing an intimidation check.
I
Yeah,
can try persuasion. Is that a 9?
Yep.
Plus 3 is 12. No, not high enough.
He knows that with something quite like this, he wouldn't be able to get out of it from the middle lords enough, and he's going to have to probably pay somebody to go around and shop it around a little bit with the upper lords, and that's going to take money and time, and it's a frustration. So he won't go any higher. He won't go any higher than 700 because it's just not worth his own finances at that point.
Do you buy moonstones?
Yeah, he buys moonstones, although he thinks they're a garbage gem.
I don't know how much the moonstones are worth.
Ask a druid.
I don't know either. You have my
What
book.
will you give me for the ruby?
How big is the ruby? Or in other words, what's it worth?
100 gold pieces.
He'll give you 100 gold pieces for the ruby.
Alright, so 800 in total for the ring and the ruby.
He stares at you and stares at what you put up on the table, and he nods. He goes, "All right, fine."
That's
That
a fair
sounds
trade. Probably need the money on the trip more than I need that silly ring.
That might get lost.
Yeah.
It's a good point.
It'd be an interesting thing if you fell. If instead of having like instead of having necessarily something get hurt or broken, then instead you lose something of value.
That'd be interesting too.
Gemstones.
Is a moonstone qualified as a gemstone?
Yeah. Moonstone, translucent. They're worth 50 gold pieces each.
50?
Yeah.
You give me full price for it?
He'll give you 90% full price.
I have to go through here and actually make like a
Anything higher than
inventory
20
list.
usually takes a little while to move. So we ready to begin scouting?
Yes.
Do you want to break quick?
Hold on.
You make-
I'm gonna make sure I don't need to go to any more shops.
Your standard adventuring gear, like ropes and bags and stuff, can be bought from Akron's Celebon steerage.
I already had all that.
Mhm.
Are there any? I asked the gem gnome. Are there any bookstores?
He says that there are. Why?
I have some books I need to sell. I don't know how I acquired them.
He doesn't really know much about selling books. His specialty is gems and all other pretty polished stones.
So where's the nearest bookstore?
He doesn't really know what a bookstore is. He says there's pawn stores and merchants that sell that kind of thing up and down the tradeways.
Okay, Leaky's gonna go look for a book merchant.
Okay, while you do that, why don't we begin
scouting since it's on the tradeways.
Because it's been a couple hours already. While you guys have been poking around in shops, so you're not going to get to make the rolls, and I'll sell you or buy the books from you. Like
You also need to get rid of your nautical
probably a
books.
60% mark off because books aren't worth that much.
Oh, I thought you were talking about.
Yeah, I also need to get. I have a waterproof satchel full of 50 dwarvish books. Or do you want me to just delete those?
Let's just delete those. I have no idea what that's from. So you're not going to go looking for books then?
No, I also have 3 nautical books that are worth 75 gold apiece.
Oh, you probably sell those down on
The docks.
the docks. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
So we'll all just kind of tag
so while
along.
Why don't we
hustles
go
over
scout?
to the docks?
Well,
You guys
he's
are gonna go
going
scout.
there. We can. The tradeways isn't
Tradeways
that?
in the north.
Oh, okay.
So that's the north. That's
Well,
the
we
edge of the city.
Yeah.
I was gonna say the tradeways would be where to
And you know that
go ask
the
questions.
issues are in Blackgate, but that area is actually the Great Port. It's a different district.
Oh, okay.
So they're going to scout inside Blackgate. You're going to go down to the Great
Port to sell the books.
Okay, and I'll sell those to you at like 60% of their listed value because it's a book. Books don't have a whole ton of resale value.
I think the
All right, and me and Cesaria go down and we start talking to people.
I think the 75 was for all
seeing
three.
what we can
No, I
see.
think it's for-
Obviously, there's a connection we need to make, and we're
That's
trying to
how
figure
I
out what that
always
is
do it.
exactly.
As we search, I want whoever is going to be the primary scouter for right now is going to roll a d20, and it'll be 1 clue per hour if you find anything at all.
What check is it going to be?
Yeah,
It's a d20, so it's a search.
just not an investigation or anything like that.
Nope, it's just a search.
Okay.
Sorry, Cesaria, as you spend hours searching with Corey and discreetly follow dozens of different porters back and forth, none of them, as far as you can tell, are dragon cultists. There's no signs or tells or anything like that. But you do notice that one of the blocks you spend the most amount of time on is covered in posters seeking a missing person. The one that you see is for Gorgon Rockslider, who's listed as being a dwarf child, age 14. And each poster has printed at the bottom of the printer's the printer's location where you can maybe find more information, called King's Leaflets and Printed Cards on Niebolt Street beside the Cracked Helm pub, which you guys had just briefly done a jaunt over to the side of Niebolt Street to sell gems.
Right, so we should go.
Missing poster then.
So we could go ask about the poster, or we could just keep scouting. What do we want to do?
I was going to go ask about the poster.
You could. You want to gather the entire party, because that way I don't have to narrate a bunch of things differently. Do you want to scout for a couple more hours and see what comes of it, or?
Yeah, well, he's selling his books.
Okay, so at this point, I guess Corey would take over.
Yep, I could do the next one. I rolled 19.
19. Okay. As you're searching, you see one NPC wearing a dragon necklace.
Mm-hmm.
So you see one person walking alongside some porters carrying a dragon or wearing a dragon necklace. But as you try to follow them, you end up over on a road called Cut Track Lane. And you lose them there because the road janks back and forth pretty crazily, and they kind of disappear into the crowd.
Okay. So can I do an investigation check on the area to see if there's any secret passageways or anything like that around?
You can try.
Okay.
I think thieves can't.
12 long.
Okay.
I'm sorry. I have a modifier to that. 13.
So as you walk up and down searching for that individual wearing the dragon necklace, the Cut Track Lane jags back and forth really bad. It's difficult to follow anybody here because it twists and turns, connecting several other streets.
Mm-hmm.
And you realize that Cut Track Lane is actually where several buildings used to stand, but they collapsed for whatever reason. And so now this strangely shaped alley has become kind of a footpath for people moving back and forth. There's a couple stalls selling food, and there's people who are just kind of set, right, like bums. But there aren't any other houses or real shops in here, except for one door that you see boarded over with the words Blood Lung here painted across the boards.
Do we have any knowledge of blood lung?
That would be a medicine check, I believe.
Okay. My medicine is probably not great. It's -1.
I can try.
See if Cesare knows anything about the medicine.
9.
9 is enough for you to know that it's a contagious disease that causes you to cough up your own lung. It's not highly contagious, but it can spread, so this must be a quarantine of some sort. And at this point, you've lost sight of the person wearing the dragon necklace. They're gone.
Yeah.
Just want to make that clear. Search for clues?
Search for clues.
Okay. At this point, Leaky has probably rejoined you. It shouldn't take more than 2 hours to sell some books on boats and stuff.
Mm-hmm. So you have joined our party.
Okay.
Okay.
Right.
So who's searching for clues? What kind of check do you want?
It would just be another D20.
Okay. Since you just joined us, would you like to roll our next
I can roll the d20. Critical fail.
Not a critical fail, because this is a
table one.
Table. So you find, Leaky, you notice the same face staring out at you from a bunch of pictures that have been pasted to the walls. You ask the ladies to read the posters to you, and they say, well, these ones are all about somebody named Lainey Halloran, who's age 28. She was a human seamstress. She's missing, too.
Should probably check out missing people. It seems like there's a lot of these posters around.
So
this one also lists King's Leaflets and Printed Cards on Niebolt Street, beside the Cracked Helm pub.
So maybe we go back and check that out. Because we were going to, but we were waiting for the whole party to be together.
You were waiting for little old me?
Imagine that.
I brush my mohawk.
Okay. Anything else? Do we want to search for clues anymore, or are we moving to go talk to King's Leaflets?
Let's go talk to King's Leaflets first.
So, Leaky, how do you keep your mohawk so straight?
Farrah Fawcett, of course.
You You're welcome, Travis.
It's literally not been washed in 10 years. All right. Niebolt Street at this point in the day is surprisingly empty, although it's emptier than it really should be for a city street. It's as if something is keeping folks away as the sun begins to set. Overhead, the buildings shrug together, no more than an arm span or two apart at their upper eaves. And at the corner of the road, a freshly boarded over well is covered in graffiti, except for the boards. Broken bottles lay in pieces at the foot, and wash lines hang overhead. Pennants fly from some windowsills, and others you can hear voices drifting out of and smell food cooking, dinner cooking. A number of small businesses, mostly related to the employment of porters and farriers, stand with doors and windows now closed, and nobody's moving about. There's a pub bearing a painting of a cracked helmet above its door, and that stands open right now. Someone inside is plucking a lute, and they are arguing. They're apparently shouting back and forth with somebody about not being paid enough for a bard of their caliber. Beside the pub is the humbly decorated King's leaflets and printed cards.
Is that it?
That was it, yeah. So Niebolt Street is kind of empty and...
Broken.
Yeah, it's kind of broken.
And that is where we are going to leave our episode. Thank you for listening. I have been Kyle Newcomb, playing the character of Leaky, Exile of the Golden Tur Clan.
And I am Jenn, playing Cesaria, the rogue.
I'm Lindsey, and I'm playing Corey Gothkanathi,
The Worm Crusher.
the Worm Crusher.
And I am Travis. I am the Malignant God of Dice and DM. See you next time. If you like us, leave a review, please.
Thank you for listening, and we hope you tune in to our next episode.
Yeah. The Canon Fodder Diecast is produced and edited by Travis Knight. Intro and outro music is composed by Kevin MacLeod and used within the Creative Commons rights. The Diecast is intended for entertainment purposes only. Follow us on Twitter at CanonFodderPod for more show news, game updates, and character antics. If you enjoyed the show, please go leave us a review. Thank you for listening, and see you next time.
Roll a performance check.
Yes.